Do you know how it feels to let the phone go to voicemail the moment it rings? When someone knocks on your door and you choose to ignore them, you freeze like a deer in headlights, expecting they will simply leave. You're not by yourself. Furthermore, you're not becoming a sullen recluse. You're simply getting older. Age also brings with it a topic that most people seldom discuss, this nagging subliminal need for greater solitude. However, nobody tells you this. That sensation is quite typical. Indeed, it may even be beneficial. Let's discuss why. There was a lot of social engagement when you were younger. You grew accustomed to the constant presence of people at work, school, the grocery store, on the bus, and via your children. Perhaps even depended on it. However, something changes as you age, not because you don't like people. Simply put, you don't require them as much, not always. And it's not strange, antisocial, or self-centered. It's a psychological issue, in-depth, thoroughly researched, and logically sound psychology. For the first reason, you become almost completely intolerant of rubbish. You endure a lot when you're young. The guy who spends 2 hours talking about himself without asking you a single question. Gossip, family turmoil, terrible pals, and meaningless small talk. But you lose patience with that as the years pass. After decades of putting up with bullshit, your inner self finally says, no more. You quit feigning amusement at unfunny jokes. You quit giving credence to nonsensical viewpoints. Individuals who wear you out are individuals you leave. It's not mean, self-preservation is the reason. Now that you know how to spot emotional noise, you finally allow yourself to turn it off. The second reason is that your priorities change. You begin to ask yourself new questions. What's my energy level today? When I talk to them, who genuinely makes me feel good? I am drained by whom? Who can I trust? Popularity, approbation, and a full calendar are no longer your goals. Peace is what you're after. You're looking for deep discussions, not little talk. People that understand you are what you want, not those who put up with you. Additionally, you would prefer to sit in silence rather than make an effort to grin if the appropriate individuals aren't around. Loneliness isn't that. Freedom is that. That's sagacity. The third reason is unexpected and quite emotional. It's sorrow. You lose people when you age. Relationships wane, friends relocate, and loved ones die. You lose a small piece of your social life with every loss. And many people don't even realize how much their world is getting smaller. Here's the unspoken reality. Some people are opposed to rebuilding it. It isn't depression. It isn't giving up. It's simply a profound understanding that time is running out. This leads to an emphasis on quality rather than quantity. I've loved hard, the soul is saying. I've suffered a significant loss, and now I only have room for what feels really secure. This leads us to the fourth factor, which is social tiredness. There is a deeper psychological fatigue, not the kind that can be remedied by a nap. It gets tiresome after a lifetime of handling people, negotiating group dynamics, accommodating, mediating, and entertaining. You don't recover as rapidly. You can be exhausted for the entire afternoon after a 1-hour meal with someone who talks excessively. Having 3 conflicting talks during a family get-together is like running a mental marathon. You stop accepting everything as a result. Rest is more important to you than duty. Your calm is sacred, therefore you guard it as such. Most people won't say this out, but let me tell you something. Not all elderly persons experience loneliness. Actually, a lot of people are quite happy to be by themselves. However, society dislikes that story. We're always told that the most important thing is to connect, that your happiness would increase with the number of people in your life. Here's the twist, though. Company does not always equate to connection. Knowing who you are without interruption might sometimes be the key to connecting. Sometimes it's just taking pleasure in your own ideas, sipping a cup of tea, reading a book, gazing at the wall, and listening to the birds without feeling the need to explain yourself. Avoidance is not what that is. Evolution is that. As people get older, they avoid people more for a fifth, and it's a strong one. Self-knowledge. At last, you are aware of who you are. Really know yourself, I mean. You are aware of your boundaries, what makes you happy, and what irritates you, and a sort of protective instinct follows from that awareness. You quit placing yourself in circumstances that are contrary to who you are. Avoid small talk if it drains you. You put distance between you and certain people if they reopen old wounds, not to punish them, but to keep the peace. It's a gentle strength, the kind you develop over life's experiences. Additionally, remember that time becomes more valuable as you get older. For now, that is the sixth and last justification. Time begins to feel different. An hour seems insignificant when you're 20. An hour feels like treasure when you're 70. Spending it, who you give it to, and whether it makes you feel better or worse are all things you're more conscious of. You start to understand that every visit, phone call, and coffee date has a price, not only time, but energy as well. Thus, you make better use of that time. That occasionally entails preferring solitude to companionship. You are choosy because you love yourself, not because you don't like other people. This is when the exciting part begins. This transformation may not be understood by those around you. They may claim that you've changed, that you're not as entertaining as you once were, or that you're withdrawing. Here's the reality, though. They're correct. You've changed. And that's the main idea. Being the life of the party is not why you are here. Living your life as you see fit is why you are here. To say no without feeling guilty and to experience what you feel. To only say yes when it's important. You didn't live this long to ensure the comfort of others. You're not impolite. You are authentic, and that gets even more holy as you age. Let's go even further now. This change in social conduct isn't only about avoiding stress or saving time. Clarity is also important. The aging process brings with it a certain mental acuity, not in the memory sense, but in the awareness sense. You begin to see things more quickly. The one-sided friendships, the flattery, the phony grins. You can tell someone isn't right for you without a three-month fallout. You can learn anything in a single chat. And if you're still attempting to play the social game, that awareness can be draining. You take a step back instead. You make things simpler. You no longer feel the need to justify yourself. You quit defending your early departure from the party or your failure to answer that call. Simply because you used to, you no longer owe others your presence. Being that honest with oneself can make one feel alone. However, it feels like relief on the inside. People also don't talk about your evolving emotional labor skills enough. You may have been the go-to friend, the mediator in your family, the one who always made the first move, maintained relationships, and organized the plans. However, after serving as the glue for decades, you start to wonder, who's holding me together? And you gradually leave that function if the response is no one. Stop betraying your own needs, not to punish others. You exchange peace of mind for pleasing others. Indeed, when you stop carrying them, some people may disappear. Those that stay, however, are precious. Not to mention the part the body plays in all of this. Your social behavior is also impacted by physical aging. You might get tired more quickly. Loud settings can be debilitating. Your joints hurt. You need support for your back. Suddenly, it doesn't sound like fun to have a 2-hour meal with 5 people. It sounds like training for endurance. Quiet time feels like a blessing because of the physical and mental strain. So you adapt. You turn down more invitations. You like early afternoons better than late evenings. Your physique should fit your life, not the other way around. Then there's another layer that we haven't yet discussed. Identity. Your identity evolves with age. Little children are no longer your responsibility. You are no longer moving up the professional ladder. You're retiring. Or perhaps you have completely changed your way of life. A change in identity also brings about a change in society. People you used to feel a strong affinity with, such as younger relatives, co-workers, or other parents, might no longer feel that way about you. Your lives no longer reflect one another, not because you've done anything bad. It's okay if you transition into various beats. You shouldn't cling to every relationship indefinitely. Actually, one of the healthiest things you can do is let go. Your soul now truly desires the things you make time for, like those peaceful mornings, the phone call from the one person who truly understands you, and the lengthy walk without having to perform for anyone. More depth, less noise, more significance, and less stimulation. Rejecting individuals is not the point. Refining your circle is the goal. And while that refinement can initially feel isolating, it eventually turns into a sort of clarity. This will never make sense to certain individuals. Their words will be, "You used to be so social." Or alternatively, "Why don't you come out anymore?" And since it's hard to convey 1,000 silent realizations, you could find it difficult to respond. In one kind remark, how would you sum up decades of progress? In actuality, you are not in need of an explanation. No more. You deserve the freedom to vanish into your own solitude guilt-free. Additionally, you might be surprised by this. Your life may actually be prolonged by this change in conduct and this slowing down of your social life. According to studies, lowering stress and safeguarding your mental well-being are important components of lifespan. You're not retreating when you choose calm over duty, limit stressful situations, and stay away from poisonous talks. You're getting better. You're saving energy for the important things. Your body is aware of it. That's why so many elderly people appear more composed. They have given up on attempting to please others and fixing things that are beyond repair. Their intellect are clearer, but they walk more slowly. They don't say as much, but when they do, it counts. They aren't fleeing from anyone. Yeah, they're sprinting in the direction of the self they were previously too preoccupied to meet. You've undoubtedly heard this quote before. The older I get, the less I listen to what other people have to say. I simply observe their actions. That's the effect of aging. It trains you to pay more attention and respond less. You have nothing left to prove. You no longer strive for the acceptance of those who have never comprehended you. It feels nice to start choosing truth over tradition, solitude over forced connection, and tranquility over pride. And now for the lovely irony. The right people start to come up when you stop needing them with you all the time. You begin to naturally draw connection instead of pleading for it. Conversations are no longer forced. They simply occur. Companionship is not something you schedule. It locates you. And the handful that stay become invaluable because they adore the subdued version of you, the authentic version, not the person who attended every function, but the one who is completely present when it counts. Therefore, you may be more quiet, selective, and withdrawn these days. Do not panic. Don't think twice about it. The world may tell you that something is amiss, but ignore it. You're not damaged. You're blossoming. Everything that doesn't benefit you is being peeled away. You're not getting less gregarious. You're evolving into your true self, and it's an unfake kind of happiness. Perhaps this weekend is a free day on your calendar. Perhaps it's been a few days since the phone rang. Perhaps you were calm and did nothing at all during the afternoon. Loneliness isn't that. Arrival is that. When your life begins to fit perfectly, that's how it feels. And don't let this be the only time we communicate if it seems to understand you better than most people these days. Join the channel by subscribing. Here, we're creating a peaceful little haven just for people just like you. Just genuine conversation, heartfelt tales, and the tranquility you've earned. No noise, no pressure.